Okay, now for the carriage part of our naval cannon. You see how it's got these little steps in it, you know, a ridge here, and then this cutout. The most important thing is we will cut out these ridges first. Then we'll cut this one. Then we cut this one. Because if you cut out this middle part where the cannon barrel lays, then try to do these, the force of that, it pushes over these walls and messes it all up and ruins your precious piece, and then you got to do it all over again, and you'll be very upset. All right, so that's what we're looking for. So we want to lay that out on our block. So we look at our precious plans here, and we see how it goes. So it says 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch, which is on these big rulers, or I should say yardstick, is just one of these lines. The space in between those two is 1/8 of an inch. And on our steel rule, it's 4 of these. And if you're not sure, well, just take the thing over here and look. Yeah, that's right. So 4 30-seconds is 1/8 of an inch. All right, then, so it's going to go up 1/8 each time for each step. And it's going to have a width each time of 1/4 of an inch. See, 0.250. 0.25 is 1/4 of an inch. So that's 2 of these lines. Then that would be 8 on this. 8 30-seconds. Like so. And that's right, that's 1/4 of an inch. There are 2 of those lines. All right, so what we'll do is we'll use whatever this is called, and you go, geez, I can't remember the name of it. Ah, maybe it's a combination square. Yeah, there you go. All right, so, and then we'll lay it out like so. Use a Sharpie, use a green one, use whatever. Use a pencil. A pencil will write on this if you're careful. Just don't rub your grubby hands all over it, and it'll wipe it right off, so you gotta be careful. Grubby hands, that's terrible. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so we're gonna have 3 steps, and so it's gonna look like this, and then like this. So 3 steps down would be 3/8 this way. I'm first going to lay it out, let's say, in pencil or something light, something I can wipe off. Or here's a pencil, excellent. My trusty assistant producer has that. And then, so we look at this, that would be 3 of these lines. You go, I can't see with this metal strip. All right, then move it over to the next one. So 1, 2, 3/8. If the pen writes on it, but it puts a little indentation on it. It does. Then, if it's going the other way, it's going to be, let's see, 1/4. Is there 3 steps? Yeah, 1 step, 2 step, 3 steps. So 3 steps would be 3/4, right? So 3/4 is right there. So here's where it's going to end, right here. All right, so we kind of get an idea of the work that we have here. So we're going to go down 1/8. So we already have that edge there, and then we know it goes like this. Then how far is that? Well, you want to make sure you got it right. Again, you can use this. It's 1/4, so that'd be 8 30-seconds is 1/4 of an inch. And so that's right there. It's kind of neat because you can put it right on there and actually draw the line down. 1/8, and then we go 1/8 this way, which would be right about there. And we want that to go this 1/8 of an inch, or 1/4 of an inch, I'm sorry. And then it goes down another 1/8. And see, because the lines, the thickness of your lines and all that, you may end up a little bigger than it should be, but that's okay. We'll bring it down there. And then you say, well, I can't get that right on there. Well, that's why you can use these squares, because they'll fit even on that edge there, and then you can bring the line across. Now, I'm going to do this in a Sharpie so you can see it better. So we'll bring that over. Hopefully I can. Okay, then we'll bring it up. And I'll just, since we've already laid it out, I can just bring this out as long as I want. Just so you can see it. Now you got to leave the space for the width of the Sharpie. And then bring it back over again. See, boy, this is confusing. No, it's not as bad as you think. See, we can do this one too while we're at it. And then flip it around this way to do those. And that way it all stays square. Alright, so there's what we're going to remove. Now you say, geez, I don't want to have to write this, measure it all on the other side. Well, that's the beauty of the square. So we're going to remove this material so we just can use the square, line up where the top part is here, put a little line across there, and then bring it straight on over. And that way we can line it up with this other side here. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. And we go down about 1/8 or so. Yeah, 1/8 each time. And then here too, I could bring it across from this side, so we'll put a little notch where it is there. Bring it straight across, and then we don't have to do so much of all this craziness. And then, you know, measure your 1/8, quarter, and then you'll have it all done. That way, so when you're flipping it, when you're cutting from either side with your passes, you'll be able to see if you're cutting this correctly. That's how you lay that out. And then the bottom part is just right in the center. If what I'm getting at, if this is 2 inches long, then 0.75 and 0.75 is what? Is 1.5 inches. So, right, 3/4 and 3. So then you have a 1/2 inch in the middle. Now, some of these plans have it where they have a half, and they have 1 inch in the middle. Either way, I don't care, just so it's symmetrical. But what I'm saying is you start at the middle. So if this block is a little less than 2, so you kind of leave a little overhang there, the same amount over. There's the middle part. And then you want a 1/2 inch, so you go 1/4 inch this way and 1/4 inch that way. And then bring it up with the square. And here, the square, you can actually line up those lines. So let's say we'll just use the 2 as the increment here. And bring it up. And it goes up 1/4 inch, 0.25. So we go up 1/4, which would be 2 of these lines here, because these are 1/8 here. Same with it over here. And then we just bring it across, and we're good to go. However, whichever way is easier to connect it, probably this way. Yeah. Is this perfectly accurate? No. If you wanted to get it perfectly accurate, you'd spray some blue layout dye on it. It's not really paint, it's just a light layout dye. And then you'd scribe lines with a pointy little scribe. You know, it's like this, it's got a little point to it, and then you'd scratch them in there. Then you get it right on the money. But for what we're doing, we are just making a little Cannon, naval cannon paperweight. So it doesn't have to be exact, but get it pretty close, because I will check the dimensions for your grade. All right, so any questions on that? No, because you're not here to ask me those questions. All right, and that's how you lay out that. And then later on, you'll lay out the top after you machine this. I wouldn't put it there just to confuse you. Lay out these 2 first. Then when you do that, then go ahead and lay out this, which this will be in 1/8 or so, a little over 1/8, a little over 1/8 there. And you'll machine this down to this lowest part right here. So it's all even like we did here.